Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well today. This time we're going to be talking about Doom, which is probably one of my favorite games. It's a game that I remember an awful lot from growing up, and yeah, I don't really need to talk too much about the history of this because I think most people probably know it by now. I think the thing that I remember most about Doom is probably just, oh gosh, it's almost like the lore behind it, but not really like the story of how it was made or anything. It was the story of just all of my friends talking about it on the playground. I think I was like 9 or 10 when Doom got released, and you would just hear people talking about it. Even back then, oh gosh, this is actually the game that I found out about shareware from. Had no real idea of what share. Oh wow, had no idea what shareware was, and just sorry, I didn't know what it was, and I had no idea that you had to. It was designed for you to like actually buy, or you'd get the first season, and then you would buy the rest of it later. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place at the moment. Okay, so the way shareware worked is you would get the first episode for free, and then you would have to buy the next few episodes. The way it did it back then was they would release these episodes kind of, episodically. God, that was a weird phrasing. I don't know why I wrote it like that, but whatever. You would get these things episodically, and it was kind of like getting a whole nother game. It was really awesome because the first episode, that was all I ever knew. So I at the beginning I kind of thought, well, that's kind of a crappy ending. You go through the weird little portal and then you end up dying because a bunch of mostly unseen enemies kill you. And if you're not fast enough, you could actually like prolong the final scene if you kept entering in the god code. And yeah, it was just one of those weird things where if you kept entering in the god code, you would actually be able to last longer. I don't think I ever made it to the end of it, but I definitely felt like I made it long enough. Or at least as long as I could make it. That actually brings up another thing that was really fun about this, was all the cheat codes. Before Doom, you would get like tips and everything from your friends who were on the playground with you. You find out about different games, that sort of thing. But with Doom, it wasn't the first time that I remember an actual like set of cheat codes, but it definitely was. It definitely was one of the most memorable. Mostly because, it made the game that much easier. Especially the clipping code in the first game, which is one of the only ones I can't remember off the top of my head. Because it wasn't as easy as the second game. Oh, and the monster closets like this. Doom was scary back then. I know it's kind of hard to see it now because obviously graphics have gotten way better. But stuff like this, where you grab the blue key and the freaking lights just go out and a little closet of enemies opens up, that was kind of creepy back then. You didn't really see stuff like that in video games. At least not in the video games that I played back in the early 90s. I remember going over to friends' houses and playing this, and staying up late with my friends would come over to my house, and it would just be so much fun playing this game. Same thing happened with Doom 2, where you got the whole game, and it was just so different and so much fun to go around and kill all the different demons and everything. And like I mentioned, it was a little scary back then. Oh gosh. There was just something great about Doom that seemed to really bring a lot of different people together. And I remember those shareware versions of it just kind of getting passed around. Like, it was one of those weird things where I wasn't young enough for like the real heyday of piracy back in the mid 80s. Well, early and mid 80s, where computer games were just sort of passed around, and nobody really had to get one, because all you had to do was copy it onto a floppy and then you were good to go. I knew you could buy video games and I knew you could rent them, but Doom was one of those games where I was like, and a lot of other computer games, where it just kind of felt like if you were in the right place or you knew the right person, you could just get them for free. It was so weird. I don't know why exactly, but it was just one of those weird things where we got TIE Fighter for free, we got Doom for free, Doom 2 for free, and then if you had the right magazine subscription, you could get a whole bunch of demos. And every once in a while, those demos would be, some of them would be a little bit meatier than others, so it kind of felt like you had a full game. I know one of the Elder Scrolls was like that. Daggerfall. Daggerfall was like that, where it would stop you from gaining levels, but you could just keep playing the game. It was really awesome. One more kind of story that I have, because I play Doom way more than I probably should, because it's still a great game even today. And as you can tell, I'm not exactly great at it, but it doesn't really matter as long as you're having fun. I was playing this when I was in college, and one of my terrible roommates came back at the time, and he saw me playing this, and he was like, "Are you playing Doom?" And I was like, "Yeah, playing Doom." And he looked at me and he said, "Why?" I remember I looked up at him and I said, "Well, why not? Like, it's Doom. Why would I not want to play it? It's an awesome game. Still is. Doesn't look as good as other shooters. Doesn't have the same, tactical feel. Your gun's kind of fixed in the center, and that's really all you need. You don't need to look around in 360 degrees in Doom. You just, kind of swivel around, line up with the target box of your enemies, pull the trigger, and you're good to go." It was just one of those weird things where he couldn't understand why I liked a retro game, and I didn't really have a great argument for why I did like it. I just enjoy Doom. It's a lot of fun. There is one more thing that I'm just constantly reminded of when I play Doom, and it's really just one of those weird moments that wouldn't make any sense anywhere else. And I don't know how many. I doubt anyone else really has the same experience with it, just because it's odd. So my brother, whenever we played, would always, and I mean always, play Stone Temple Pilots, their 12 Gracious Melodies album. I think it might have actually been the only CD that he owned at the time. And he would just play this freaking CD to the point where I didn't like it anymore. Over and over again. Just constantly playing it. And it just sort of became attached to what I was thinking whenever I was playing Doom. Going through certain levels, I would just be reminded of that song. and it was just weird. I don't know why I still think of it like that, but I guess when you get something like so ingrained into like the way you're playing a game, it just sticks with you. And that's the way that album kind of sticks with me. I still think of Doom when I hear those songs. I still think of those songs when I play Doom. It's really weird. And I doubt that people probably have a similar thing with like other music, but that's one of the weird things I think about when I play Doom. Anyway, that's gonna wrap things up, guys. I know this was a little strange of an episode and everything, but sometimes you need those. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.